Welcome to the Boone Podcast. I'm Bret Boone, and today on the program, we've got a little playoff special for you. I played with this man only one season, 2000. Uh, he's one of my all-time favorites. Three-time World Series champion and probably future Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Texas Rangers skipper Bruce Bochy. Boch, I know you're busy, and I appreciate you doing this, man. Thanks for coming on the program.
Of course, on anytime, Booney. It's good to see you. Good to hear you. Yeah, we're in Houston right now. We got in last night. We got to work out today before we get this thing going tomorrow.
We had, for those of you watching the Boone or listening to the Boone podcast right now, Bruce came on the show a couple of years ago, and he had retired. He finished in 2019 with the Giants. We had the talk on this show. We even discussed Bruce was going to do a podcast, and he's like, "Boney, what do you think?" And we were talking, and next thing you know, the opportunity comes up. Texas Rangers, and I hear Bruce Bochy is going to manage the Texas Rangers. What was the main thing that made you jump back in after doing it for so long, having so much success in San Francisco?
Yeah, Booney. Well, first of all, I'll start with when I stepped down. I thought it was the time to do it, and I didn't know if I would manage again. And actually, my timing was pretty good. That was the COVID. The next year was the COVID year, and I said, man, I couldn't have picked a better time to step down because I wouldn't have wanted to be in a dugout with a mask all year and dealing with the bubbling in the hotel. And I was good with it. I was enjoying my time with the family. I didn't know if I'd manage again. But the next year I started missing it. Never called anybody though. I was good with my decision. Well, some people from France, and I say people, baseball people, approached me about helping them trying to qualify for the World Baseball Classic. I said, you know what, that'll keep me busy. I'll have some fun with it. There was really no money involved or anything. I said, yeah, I'd go to France. I was born there in a little town called Boussac. So that's a connection on that end. And my brother would help me, who scouted for years. He's retired, Joe. He would be my bench coach, and we had a blast. The first year got canceled because of COVID, but last August, we went to France. We worked them out. Went to Regensburg trying to qualify. Did not go well. But I got back in the dugout. And once I was there, I said, man, I miss this. I really miss it. It was a lot of fun. They were great kids. So I get back, and, after the season, I got a call from Chris Young and see why he pitched for me. And so he wanted to see my appetite on getting back in the game. I said, well, it's funny you're calling because I was just saying how much I miss it. So he said, well, I'm coming out there. And he flew out to Nashville, where I just moved because of my grandkids. And we talked for about 7 hours. And he talked about his vision. They wanted to bring winning baseball back to Texas. They had full commitment to do that from ownership, front office. They were going to go out and sign pitching and get it done. And when he left, I said, I'm in. I'm all in if they're in. And the owner came out, Ray Davis, wonderful man, and he has the same vision. So I said, let's go. And that's how fast it happened. Next thing I knew, I was at a press conference in Texas, back in baseball, still trying to convince my wife it was a good move because she was really good with me being around. And I think she just worries that, the ups and downs and I've had a couple stints put in. But I tell you what, it's been a blast. I have no regrets.
No, that's awesome. And you've always had spring training in Arizona. You go Padres, Giants, 13-year run with the Giants over in Scottsdale. Now all of a sudden you're in Surprise. After missing a few years, being there so long, Bo, first as a player, then as a skipper for it seems like 100 years. Seems like you've been managing forever. But you're in Surprise. Was it tough getting back in the saddle? Like, oh, here we go again. Different group, different organization. But we all know it's the same thing. Baseball's baseball. Get it done. Get ready for the season.
Right. I'll say this: when I landed in Arizona, the excitement, and I was a little nervous, to be honest. because I was out 3 years. These kids have gotten younger. Now I'm the grandpa. I'm not, and they don't know a lot about me. So, and that's a good feeling. I think you should have that feeling, getting back. And when I went down Surprise, and I didn't realize Surprise was, I mean, I did know it, how far it was down there, but I mean, you're secluded. There's nothing else but baseball down there. Where Scottsdale, you got a lot of stuff going on. But anyway, I walked in the clubhouse, and I just felt it just felt right. It just felt so good. Then when that first game started, same kind of feeling, and some jitters and stuff. But once it started, it's like, this is what I do. This is what I've been doing. I almost felt like it's what I should be doing right now. The one thing I was concerned when I stepped down, did I step down too early? Was there enough out there to keep me busy? Because I love to fish, I love to hunt and golf a little bit, but there's only so much of that, and I missed it, and I realized this is the best thing I could have done, because the next time I do step down, I'll know it's definitely the right time.
When did you start to know in your mind this team was going to be good? Because it's a Texas team that in recent history hasn't had a lot of success. You brought in a lot of new guys in. You had the big guy from New York, DeGrom. You've added some pieces. Obviously Seager and Simeon were the big signs a couple of years ago. But when did you realize? Was it in spring training? You realized this team's got a chance to be good?
Yeah, you know what? I'll start before then. When I was getting interviewed, so to speak, I went back and started looking at games, and I said, you know what? This is a good team. This is a really good offensive club. Their first baseman, Lowe, had just won the Silver Slugger. They just signed Marcus and Corey up the middle. They put a lot of money in those two guys. They had a young kid who got some time in, Josh Young. And watching him, I said, man, this kid can hit. Then you go out in the outfield and get Garcia. Dolly, he can, big power, good defender, good speed. Tavares in center field. And they had this kid, Jonah Heim, behind the plate. Now, he fatigued out the second half, but, watching him, I said, man, this kid, he can catch. He can throw, and he's a switch hitter. I said, they're going to put runs on the board, which they were doing. They just need some pitching. So that's when I first realized it. Now, to your point, when we signed DeGrom, Evaldi, Heaney, we get to spring training, this team had a look. They kind of remind me of, previous good teams, professional guys, the position players, they were men, and they just handled themselves so well. And then, of course, you look at DeGrom leading the way. Unfortunately, we lost him, but watching he and Evaldi in spring training, I said, geez, who's got a better 1-2 than us? So I really felt that this team was going to get to the postseason in spring training.
Yeah, when I saw you guys make that DeGrom, anytime you got a healthy DeGrom, everybody can watch. You don't have to be a baseball guy to know how nasty he is, but he does go down early. And then all of a sudden at the trading deadline, I'm looking at you guys, and I saw this. The big sign was Max Scherzer, but coming in behind him was Montgomery. And I had followed Montgomery in his time in New York. He went to St. Louis, did very well. He came to you guys. He's kind of been an unsung hero behind the scenes. Montgomery's really stepped up. So Max pitched well for you for a while. Then all of a sudden, so Max, it's like you got your second DeGrom. Then he goes down. You missed him for the remainder of the regular season. And speaking of Max, I'm watching your game the other night, Boch, and you guys are about to clinch that sweep, that second sweep. And I think everybody saw it. We're watching Max Scherzer. He looked like a caged animal walking around that dugout. And I go, I got some buddies always asking me, you think he's going to pitch? I said, well, I'm not on the ground, but that look on his face, and I know the type of guy Max is, he's going to do everything in his power to pitch. So where are we at with Scherzer? Is he going to be there for the playoff round of the Houston Astros?
It looks really good. We have not set the roster yet. He threw the other day, and he threw almost 70 pitches. maintain his stamina and stuff was there. So all depends how he feels today. That's we have to have the roster set by 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. My guess is he's going to be good to go, but we got to just check this last box off.
Right.
Sometimes the next day or two is when they feel it or feel something, but. You're right. He's amped up. He's just excited. He's excited for the guys, but also the possibility that he's going to be with us, and so looks good. We just haven't talked to him today. Our workouts at 4 o'clock today, so we'll know once we get in there. Trainers, just okay him. Another one on that list is John Gray. John could be available for this round too.
Very cool. And Max, I don't see you in his normal capacity. Would you use him in a different role, or would you probably, if he's good to go, he's good to go. He's a starter.
Right. That's how we would want to use them. But if it was in relief, then hey, we would take that. But like I said, for him to throw as many pitches as he did, and he came out of that good so far, that I could see him starting if all's okay today.
Very good. Um, we talked briefly the other day, and I was watching you guys, and down the stretch, you had 10 games left. You had 7, I think, with Seattle, 3 with Houston. Seattle goes to Texas to you guys. You guys whoop up on them. You sweep them. You come to Seattle for the final 4 games. You lose 3 out of 4. I'm watching that final game. Seattle's been eliminated, so it doesn't matter for them. But I'm like, Boch has got to win to keep home field advantage here and get that bye in the first round. You lose the final game, and I'm just thinking what's going through your head. I'm going, he just went from going home and getting a rest, getting his rotation lined up, to I got to get on a plane and go play a 99 win Tampa Bay. Come to find out, it wasn't a big deal. You guys whooped up on Tampa Bay 2 games, but at the end of that game 162, and you're in that scenario. What do you take away from that? What are you thinking at the end of that game? What do you tell your players?
Booney, it's funny you brought that up because I don't know if there was anybody in that clubhouse, myself, the coaching staff, we were like, "Are you serious?" I mean, we got to fly right over Dallas and go to Tampa, 5.5 hour flight. I mean, we were all disappointed. Just, I mean, really disappointed. And we had to face Kirby. And not a lot of teams are doing much with Kirby. He's got great stuff, and we lose 1-0. Then I think we got one guy in scoring position, but yeah, it was a really bad feeling. I don't know how else to say it. But with that said, I said once we get to Tampa, and now they realize they're in the postseason, that feeling's going to go away. I felt that with this club because this club, I only met with them once in Minnesota. This team has been remarkable of putting that stuff behind them, from injuries, losing to Grom, Scherzer, things like that. It's the biggest roller coaster ride I've been on in all my years. With the streaks, I'm talking about winning and losing streaks. And this certainly was a gut punch, to have to go to Tampa there. But it's incredible how they handled it. We got to Tampa, didn't really say anything, but you could feel their juices getting going, and so I felt good in Tampa. I did. I knew. And don't get me wrong. I know how good Tampa is. I know how good they are at home. So, they were missing a couple of their big starters, but we still had to beat some good pitching. But these guys got the right frame of mind, and they've done that all year. And that's probably what I'm as proud of with these guys as anything is their ability, to have that resilience to bounce back from some of these tough losses. And that Seattle series, oh my goodness, that was a crusher. Because the first game we were up 2-1 in the ninth. We
Yeah.
had 2 outs, bases loaded, one more out. We win that one, and we end up losing that. So it was a rough series for us.
I'm looking at this playoff the way it's set up. I mean, an Orioles, then you go to the Orioles and you beat them 3 straight, 101 win team. The Dodgers won 100 games this year. They're eliminated. The Braves have been the best team in baseball this year, 104. They're out. Brewers won 92 games, eliminated. All your experience, and there's a new format. And Boch, as an ex-player, as a fan of the game, I love the excitement. Keeping this many cities involved for so long, I think it's good for the fans out there. I think they really enjoy it. Most of these cities 30 years ago, they'd already be into full football season, but because of the new format and 12 teams make it to the postseason, I think it adds a lot more excitement for the game. That's just my opinion on it. But all your experience managing the 3 world championships in San Francisco is having to fight through and be a wild card and go that long route. Do you think it keeps you sharper? Can it be an edge versus that team that kind of goes wire to wire, wins 100 and some games, kind of coasting for the last month? Do you think there's anything to that, a fight until the last day, because you have that adrenaline push and that playoff feeling through the course of the season?
But I think there is. I think there's something to it. And so I just experienced on the other side some days off. We got 4 days off before we play tomorrow. Now it's not 5, but still. And what I found in these past 4 days, you can face live pitching. You can have a simulated game, which we did. We have a 3-inning deal, but still to get them to practice at the level that you're playing a postseason game on, it's literally, it's impossible. It is. I mean, our guys have done a great job. We talked about it. You got to keep that competitive edge going, as you said, and that's was my biggest worry about the club, because you're right. You're running on adrenaline, boom, boom, boom. You're going from city, and all of a sudden it shuts down for 4 days. And as you know, this game, you can't hit that switch on and off, especially when you've had 4 or 5 days off. So I'm sure these clubs, I'm talking about Atlanta, the Dodgers, they've been through it before. So I'm sure they tried different things, and they did the games, and had the crowd and invited to the workouts and stuff, try to get that going. But still, the timing of hitting a baseball at 98 miles an hour, it's just that you take a few days off, and that may take some time to get back. Now, Houston, it didn't affect so much. They came out and they played very well. But I think, to your point, there is something about it, because I've been in that wild card thing. It's worked for us in the past, and you just keep going, and these guys keep that edge.
Yeah, it is. You can't recreate it. It's like in the offseason, getting ready for the season. You could go hit and take as many ground balls as you want, but it seemed, Boats, like every year when I got to spring training and I had that first real infield session, I'd come in and my legs were sore, and I did everything I could that you just can't recreate
Right.
game type atmospheres, game type
Right.
adrenaline for me is the big thing. It's like, yeah, we can pretend that it's on the line, but it ain't on the line. If I don't get a hit here, it's no big deal. But in the game, it is a big deal.
Adrenaline's the best drug in the world.
It
You can't
is.
beat it.
I know for myself, I'm a huge, me and you are, we've been friends for a long time. I'm a huge fan of Bruce Bochy. Most people are. And on the other side of the field tonight, and you might even get sick of it. Like, Bruce is one of the favorite managers of the players of all time. And then you got Dusty Baker, and everybody loves Dusty too. And it seems like, a year ago, Dusty won the World Series, and it was first World Series. It seemed like America was pulling for Dusty. I was talking to my producer before I came out here. I said, the whole world's going to be pulling for Bruce and Dusty. It's going to be like they want you both to win. One of you is win, so everybody's going to be happy. Is it ever too much for you that it's the Dusty Boat show? Because it is a big deal. It is a big deal for not only for what you accomplished, but the men you guys are, and the and the significance I think you've been and Dusty have been to this game of baseball.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. I'll start with this. I think the world of Dusty. I love Dusty. We've had our battles in the National League West. We've had some good battles. We've had postseason battles. And it's pretty cool that in my first year back here we are, we're going at it. So it's going to be exciting. It really is, but it's always the players.
Yeah.
I'll never stop saying that. There's only so much we can do, and our guys have to go out and execute. Last time we played these guys, we didn't do a very good job of that, and we got pummeled. And they've had their way with us this year. So, but I think it's a good story for us old guys, and because there's so much talk about baseball, how much it's changed. Of course, with the analytics but really, it hasn't changed as much as you think. I mean, you gotta execute the fundamentals. It's an important part of the game. Around the bases, you gotta hit a guy like Berlander out there thrown in the mid 90s with a slider, curveball, and so you can talk about all these things that have changed in the game, but really, it's up to the players to go out there and it's incredible how good the players are. I mean, they've always been good, but they're just today's player, great players. Are they different? No, they're competitive, and sure you're always going to have guys a little bit more on the analytical side than other guys, but really for the most part, it hasn't changed as much as you'd think. Maybe on the pitching side with the changes and everything, you don't have starters going as much, openers and things, but I know I got away from the Dusty thing. No, with Dusty, it's going to be good to see him. Um, it's two old foes and friends that going at it. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be cool. I don't think we could have a better matchup, and it's the ALCS is the first game before the NLCS starts a day later. But it's Boch and it's Dusty, and what's cool too? It's Texas. I think it's the first time that the Rangers and Houston have squared off in the playoffs. That's really cool for the. I think it's great for the game of baseball and a potential Scherzer Verlander matchup. That would be the trifecta. But I'm really looking forward to it. Bruce, I want to wish you the best, man. And I know that everybody's pulling at you right now. It's a pain in the ass. I appreciate you taking the time for me, and that means a lot. One more question, and I know as a player, you as a player, we don't go past today. We live to play another day, and I know that we're looking at the National League side. How much have you paid attention to that race and Philly and Arizona? I mean, two of the teams that I just thought, well, I can see Philly, especially with that home field and what it's like in Philadelphia. But Arizona winning 84 games, and they're whooping on some people. I mean, it's really been fun to watch. And I think it's cool for our game. It's got to put some guys on the map from Arizona that nobody gets to see play on that national level too much. They don't have all the hype over there in Arizona. Well, you don't usually when you win 84 games. But it's been fun for me watching these guys, David and Goliath, them going up against the Dodgers and sweeping the Dodgers. Nobody expected that. So how much you pay attention to the other side, and I know we don't get past that. The question always is, well, who'd you like to face? Well, I'd like to beat the team I'm playing right now. That's what we think as players. You paying any attention to that National League side?
I am, Boone. Sure, I watched the games. We played Arizona this year. It's just, they're a better club than I know. You look at their record, but they got good young talent. They got, I think, really good pitching, really good 1-2 starters there, and more depth than you think. But their bullpen, they really tighten that up. They play the game well. They do a great job on the bases. They're aggressive. They're really good on the fundamentals. And as you know, part of this deal when you get into the postseason, it's all about who's hot, who's playing well, who's pitching well, and where they're at. I mean, Philly's a different team right now than when we saw them when we opened up against them in Texas. Harper wasn't there; they were banged up, and we swept them. They're a completely different team, I think, than when we saw them early in the season. So, been a lot of changes there that Dombrowski has made, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to watching their series too.
Very cool, Bruce. I'll let you go. Thanks. All the best. Stay in touch. I'm sure we'll talk sometime this off season, and wish you nothing but the best. And
Booney, I
for all
appreciate it.
you got
Always
it.
good talking with you.
You too. For all you watching or listening to the Boom podcast out there, I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next time.